Puneet, Sahani, do you have any specific ideas on how India can try and break the current situation where Canada claims completely wrongly that it's doing enough but chooses not to act against those who put up posters advocating violence? What can and should India do?
So, Jai Ma Bharti Rahul, thank you for letting me speak. So, I would just make, what Mr. Trudeau is saying is a bunch of lies. And if I had more time, I would have actually explained. But anyway, so his father, Pierre Trudeau, this guy, Talvinder Parmar, there was an extradition request in 1982. And he did not extradite the terrorist to India because he said India did not respect the sovereignty of the Queen or something like that, some ridiculous reason. And that guy went on to bomb the Air India airliner. So much for Canada doesn't support terrorism. Now, the other thing actually is what is very important is Trudeau himself, part out of ideology. It's not that he can't do. He has gone out of his way to destroy political career of Sikhs who took the courage to speak out against the Khalistanis. So on the west coast of Vancouver, there was Braj Dahan, and Terry had actually done this report, and I put also on my tweet. It's on the top of my tweet. Anybody can read it. He foisted this Khalistani on top of them, Harjeet Sajjan. And these people, they are Amritdhari Sikhs. They left the party in disgust that we can't be part of this Khalistan thing. Then the other side, and this is like the most shocking thing, the Brampton, this area where this, this is the Punjab of Canada. The MP was a Jat Sikh Ramesh Sangha. There was an intelligence report that this Khalistan terrorism is an upswing. He basically said, I am a proud Sikh. But Khalistan terrorism, so I am against terrorism. Why are you conflating these two? For that, would you believe, Rahul, what they did to him? They called Ramesh Sangha, who is an MP, who has votes of Punjabis. He's a Jat Sikh himself. This Trudeau and his henchmen, they called him a racist. A Sikh is standing up and who represents the most number of Punjabis, and he's speaking out against Khalistan terrorism. He was called a racist and he was kicked out of the caucus or the party. And now that person, his political career is destroyed and he runs a law practice now. So this Trudeau has not just not done anything. He has gone out of his way and taken vengeance on, and nobody speaks it. People are terrified because of this. If they can do this to an MP, imagine about the average person. So now with Twitter, it's like Terry and me and a few other people. We make a noise about it, that this is coming out. So if you see this Mrs. Gandhi tableau, that they have completely normalized this terrorism and Rahul, I will say, please come. I was just in Canada. I'm not just talking about you as a journalist. I'm talking to you as a Sikh. You are also a Sikh. You grew up in India like me, and we always got so much honor, and we were so proud to be Sikhs. You just come to Canada and go to any Gurdwara. You will land on Toronto on this Pearson airport, and next to it is a Martin Gurdwara. You go and you will feel ashamed, and you will say, I will never send my kids or anybody near a Gurdwara. Do you know what there is? There is a big photo of Kulwinder Malli. What is Kulwinder Malli? What had he done? He had stopped a bus in Ladru and taken the Hindus out and, roasted with bullets 35 Hindus. And then he went to Fatehabad, the same gang. So in 24 hours, and again they roasted Hindus. So they killed 70 Hindus. This is what they are teaching, this hatred in Gurdwara. But nobody has the courage to say something because, they can destroy an MP. So what are ordinary people like this? So it's not, this was saying, there is a diaspora there, we don't care. Oh, diaspora is the biggest impacted community here. They have been terrorized. They can paint a target on the back of a council general. So what is an average Indian supposed to do?
What's your suggestion? What should India do? What can India do? What must India do?
This is what the only person they ever listened to was the person who set them straight, who was also a Jat Sikh and who had seen terrorism, was Captain Amrinder Singh. And he said Canada should be taken to United Nations for promoting terrorism. And he did not meet the Khalistanis, and then they immediately behaved, no, we are against Khalistan, and they did it. You should degrade the diplomatic relations from High Commissioner level to Charge d'Affaires level. And this is the first thing. And you should ban WSO, which has infiltrated all the Canadian institutions like Muslim Brotherhood, and they bully everybody. So this is what they are doing. So if you cannot do these two steps, then you can't do anything, and you have left these people to the wolves.
Jagmohan Singh, there really is no justification, no matter what your ideological point of view, to put out a target on ambassadors, to suggest violence against them, to put them in the crosshairs. This is completely unacceptable action. And yet there are many who simply aren't willing to speak up against supporting terrorism.
This is
The
an
panelists
escalation.
before me have
Go
been
ahead.
talking about history of 1985 without talking about the fact that you must understand whether it is the protagonists of self-determination, whether in India or in Canada, there is a problem. The problem is that India views everything as a law and order issue. And it is from this it flows that senior panelists would say that, you know, we will have a tit for tat policy. Now, it doesn't work like this. India and Canada must sit down together and understand that this is a conflict between the Sikhs and the Indian state, and therefore we need to see as to how we can
don't allow this
ensure
kind of
that
bump to come be on the show. I mean, this is absolutely atrocious stuff, unacceptable totally to me, and I'm sure to the other panelists. As an Indian,
you were given adequate time to speak, honorable sir.
Yeah, we were given
will have the
adequate time,
patience
but
to
you are
listen
talking
to
utter
an
nonsense.
alternative
Who is
viewpoint.
Canada to interfere in India's internal affairs?
You will have
Who the hell is the head of
to
India?
give me the opportunity to present my
I don't
viewpoint.
have
If
to
you
do
don't
anything.
want
If
to
I was
listen,
at House,
then it is for the
thrown you
anchor
out.
to decide, and I can
I
keep
don't want to
quiet.
listen to your drivel.
You
Yeah,
can-
you keep quiet.
can
Better
mute
you keep quiet.
yourself,
You're
sir.
talking
sovereignty.
You can mute yourself.
There's no question
You can
of it.
mute yourself.
Sir, the Taliban has a certain point of view. They think
Now,
in their
may
heads
I
they are
just complete,
justified.
Rahul?
How can violence
Rahul,
be
I
justified, sir?
Rahul, I did not intervene when everybody else was speaking. You will allow me to have my say. You understand, let India understand that there is a conflict. And the conflict is not that by if India calls people sitting in the US or the Canada to be terrorists. There are peaceful demonstrators. There are people who want to. I am not condoning what they are doing with respect to the diplomats. I'm not condoning that at all. I am only saying that if you brush everybody with the same sweep, then you are creating more problems rather than solving them.